Hello, everybody. This is Justin. If you are still subscribed to this channel after I haven't uploaded in over a year, I think it's been over a year since I've uploaded. Thank you. I do appreciate that loyalty. So today, I'm going to be doing something a little different. Instead of talking about science or creationism or whatever I used to talk about, I want to look at the 2020 Democratic nomination. So, I'm not going to go into depth as to how this process works. There are plenty of other YouTube videos that explain that much better than I can. So, quick recap. In order to become the Democratic nominee for president and face Donald Trump in the general election this November, you have to achieve half of these delegates. This is a mix of pledged delegates who are decided by state victories and superdelegates. There are 764 superdelegates who are Democratic Party officials and elected officials who each have their own individual vote. If you ask me, that's very undemocratic, but that is the way things are. I'm going to try not to let my political biases get in the way here. I'm not going to reveal anything about who I personally support. I just want to see statistically right now who is most likely to win this race by simulating the primary on a website called yapms.com. If you want to try this out, they have a bunch of other maps that you can try. They have for example, they have the presidential election, they have the House, they have other countries, they have Lok Sabha in India, they have the Parliament in the UK, so it's a fun website to look at. If you're not from the US, you can be from any country and still have fun with this. But for now, let's get to work with this primary. Quick note, I am notoriously bad at making political predictions. I'm good at learning about the candidates and their platforms and explaining them, terrible at predicting who will win. So this is just for fun. Don't take anything I say seriously. This is just for your viewing pleasure. So yeah, quick explanation as to why there are only 5 candidates up here when there are, I believe the number is 13 right now, 13 candidates at the time of this recording. The reason is, the first state that votes is Iowa. And Iowa has a caucus system. I'm not going to explain how a caucus works. There are plenty of other videos. But what I will say is that in order to win a caucus, or to win anything out of a caucus, you need to have at least 15% of the vote. If you do not get 15% of the vote, you either have to convince people to join your side and switch their vote, or you have to switch your vote. And among the 13 candidates, I don't think any of them, aside from Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and Mayor Pete Buttigieg, are going to emerge with more than 15%. Senator Amy Klobuchar might come close to hitting 15% if she is extremely lucky, but I don't think she will reach that magic number, and I think she will drop after Iowa. Mayor Michael Bloomberg will not reach 15%, almost certainly. He hasn't even been trying to campaign in Iowa. However, that's because he's trying to focus on the massive haul of delegates on March 3rd, I believe, known as, is it March 3rd? I want to make sure I got that date right. Yes, March 3rd, Super Tuesday. He's not even campaigning in Iowa. And Mayor Bloomberg does have the money to sustain his campaign indefinitely, so he's not worried about Iowa. But for now, I think these are the 5 candidates we need to worry about. I also have 538 in another tab to look at as reference, because 538 has historically been decent when it comes to predicting presidential elections. Nate Silver famously got every state correct in the 2012 election, so I do trust their data, but I do want to try to run my own simulation over here, just for fun, kind of. So, let's begin with Iowa. Who will carry Iowa? Well, if we follow 538, we do see that Joe Biden has a slight lead. However, I'm going to zoom in really quickly here. It's a virtual 3-way tie Among Biden, Sanders, and Buttigieg, Warren was originally in this mix, but she did drop around mid-November. And so, essentially, it's a three-way for first place in Iowa. It is anyone's game here. Who's this? I believe this is Amy Klobuchar. Anyone can win Iowa at this point. Any of these three, and don't be surprised if Warren does pull a comeback and emerges as the victor. This is the closest match I've seen in a very long time. And remember that in 2016, for the Democratic nomination, Sanders and Clinton were virtually tied in Iowa. It was 49.8 to 49.6%. So this can be a very competitive state. Incredibly close. And because of that, I don't want to make any real predictions here. And I'm going to say that they all tie. That these three tie, with Warren finishing a bit behind the rest. I don't want to make any predictions as to who will win Iowa right now. I know that kind of defeats the purpose of making this video. But it's just such a close race, and it's in 20-something days, I think, from the time I'm uploading this video. So it's anyone's race. Anybody can win it. If I had to put my money on somebody winning it, if we look over here, Pete Buttigieg had a nice spike up, not spike rather, but he had a nice climb up to the top. And by December, he was projected to win Iowa. However, that lead has narrowed recently. So if I had to put money on anybody winning, it would be him. However, the margin is just so close, I can't imagine he would win by a large margin. So yeah, we're going to go in order by how the states do vote, just because, simulating the primary, we want accuracy. New Hampshire is next. It's the first actual primary. Iowa's a caucus. So New Hampshire, there is no threshold to get votes. Only the caucuses have thresholds. And for this one, I do predict that Bernie Sanders will emerge on top. He has the geographic edge in Iowa. Vermont is much closer to... did I say Iowa? I said Iowa. Vermont is very close to New Hampshire geographically, and although Massachusetts is just as close, there's a big cultural distinction between Massachusetts and New Hampshire, at least the part where Elizabeth Warren is from, whereas Vermont is culturally very similar to New Hampshire. And so there's a geographical closeness, and there's also a cultural closeness. And also keep in mind that in 2016, Bernie Sanders pulled off a massive victory in New Hampshire during the primary. So I do predict Senator Sanders will win New Hampshire. That said, his lead is by no means rock solid. Joe Biden is giving him a run for his money in New Hampshire. In fact, I think 538 has him ahead in the polling averages, I think. Yeah, it's incredibly close. It's a statistical tie, really. So this can go either way, but I will give it to Senator Sanders. Warren, I will give her the same odds as Biden, maybe just slightly below. But I think all of them will do better than Buttigieg, except Bloomberg. Bloomberg's not focused on New Hampshire or Iowa. He's focused on the Super Tuesday states. So, I'm going to end part 1 of this video here because my recording software will only last 10 minutes. And in the next video, we will move on to Nevada, then South Carolina, and then maybe we will get to Super Tuesday. And here are the numbers as they stand, and I will catch you all in the next video.